조자와 간다다 요거나 간다 대화다 되게 강마죠. 요거 띵가 관타에 정토나고 담모저 이제 대자선이 원치고 들리다 잡지 동발에 잡지 동바 제비 방법 요리 있나다 다른 디바 힘보다고 힘보다고 제바들이 다야 칼이 야야 요리 저렇게 통통하는 시기 뭐 매일 세낭상 좀 요리 시류리 난 나리 가고리 생각 아니죠. 나가 싸워 셈디 들이 또들이 잡도 셈 잡고 셈 잡이 들이다 잡기도 맞지 봐 가서 들이 시tam에 세 고쳐서 저거서 고요에 들이다가 난기 지금 줬었는데 난거 고쳐서인데 간에 딱 고라고 되는 요래 산지지 정보 강의 사제 정보 서비스 상기의 샘도 딱 맞으니 랑그 샘은 여기서 들어서 온다는 요래 샘도 딱 맞으 상기의 우리들 랑랑 잡고 요래다 그래서 사제 정보 시합을 잡고 저지 시합가리 다다 나가 동이 먹고지 나 동이를 쪽도 타고 가리지 섬섬도 동이 쪽부터 랑그 샘 시합되게 탑들었다 저기 동이지 랑그 타고 좀 공을 초통 거리 강문을 들어오고 그때 저랑 세비 쪽 요리 그 시합되게 먹었대요 시합되 먹었대 시합하는 먹을 때는 들이 시합되는 다 요리 세부대로 또 세부대로 다 해봐 생남 갔다 와 참을 비래 도담고 대방 거리 다니니 요 말이 다니지 밑으로 때리더니 추정모 삼행제를 잡수 줘서 나티 이보라 다 삼행제 거도 별 삼대 총성들 뒤소대 비트 대화요리 대화다 대화 적하래리 감성 생기도 대화죠 삼대 세대들이 추지는 뭐 삼행제를 잡는 줘지 너는 샘들을 쬐아오르다 샘들 쬐아게 잡고 그랬지 샘들 속이 잡고 쬐아지를 라는 샘을 쓰시 나오는 거 나한테 나 속이 좀 삼행제 좀 그래지 pero topi 이유나 다 청지 비지 삼제시 쬐아지 주바고 들시 주고 차그래 대로 그 삼제다 삼제의 시랍이거든 사지정보 시랍 취정보 삼행제에서 도디를 보기 위해서 어떻게 잡아 탑다 들람만 하도다 다 장면 같이 좀 보제래지도 요래甚至 장면 같이 레인이 보래서 그 사지 추 탐지들이 개미시를 하리바 다른 그 개기는 잡고 복소들만 롭다 개기 잡고 요래 다 아미 잡고 요래 롭다 개기 잡고 들이 망디 작합 잡고 요래 배티들 개미시리 개기 잡고 버리 놀는 샘디 시합대가 삼성제다고 야시 대조하고 들이대라고 저기 취지디 싸웠다 개기하고 인세다 되래 예
So for the refuge vow, there are more extensive versions and more concise versions of that. And today we will have a concise version of the refuge vow, just pointing out the essence. More extensively, you can also find more material online. And now we just have a really short time. But so in terms of refuge and protection, so there is always an outer, inner, and a secret aspect. The outer aspect is our own body. On the inner level, there is our speech, and on the secret level is our mind. And when we take refuge, it is mainly the mind that needs to be protected. So the mind really goes for refuge. When we go for refuge, often we speak about the outer three jewels, But what's more important to understand is the inner rituals, how these rituals are within yourself. And so to put that into simple terms, it is written very in simple terms on our Refuge card that you will receive later. So for the Buddha it says, I take refuge in wisdom, the heart essence of the Buddha. So that is really the Buddha we take refuge in, is our own wisdom. And wisdom is our pure mind. The Buddha said, completely tame your own mind. So it's really you who has to protect yourself, your mind. You need to protect your mind through wisdom. And with wisdom, you understand that I do not want to suffer. I need a refuge that protects me from suffering. So with wisdom, you find a way to become protected from suffering. As you mentioned before, we also visualize the Hung syllable which we print on clothing, for example, and so on, to protect our mind, essentially. So right now, the essence of our mind, or what we find, is a self. But when you look at the nature of that, then there is nothing but space. And you see the ultimate truth where self and other do not exist. You see that with your inner wisdom, the inner Buddha. And then it says, I take refuge in love and compassion, the heart essence of the Dharma. In brief, the antidote to self-grasping is love. We need to cultivate love. If you only even have the slightest love, you will experience happiness. That is why we pray for sentient beings to be happy and have the causes of happiness. The only cause of happiness for all beings in the three realms is love. So that is the actual Dharma that you take refuge in. It is your own love and compassion. So love has to protect your mind. And with mindfulness, with wisdom, you recognize that. For example, if there are two companions, two friends, who love each other and who are able to be patient with each other, they will be happy. It's just the nature of things. So the Buddha you take refuge in is your own wisdom. The essence of the Dharma is your own love and compassion. And then for the Sangha, I take refuge in virtuous friends, the heart essence of companions. So it is the Sangha who shows us the Dharma. There are endless Dharma teachings. We speak about 84,000 different Dharma teachings. There are so many different antidotes because there are so many sentient beings. And understanding the essence of the Dharma really depends on a teacher. We need a teacher. Just like a little child first needs its mother, then it needs school teachers, and later one needs the country that protects its people. So we need some kind of protection. And of the different kinds of protection, our teachers are extremely precious because they teach us everything about the Dharma. So again, with wisdom, you are able to cultivate love and compassion and practice patience, and then also are able to rely on a teacher in both the mundane sense and the spiritual sense.
개개의 도지체보 개배시 개개 체보에 다 상제리 코 체보까지는 심긴 탐지라 되와다 되고래 등에도 잘 버리지 뒤로한테 콜어요래 대들이 개개 체보한테 되게 강하게 득바지 않으면서 개가 벌써 속바지시래 오늘 득바는 강라 개와는 강라데 다야 좋아지나 니는 다 이누 이집지 빵을 이누 이집지 좋아데 득바리 득바데 되다 이는 판 오바다가데 꼬라장 동타랑 다다랑 철누고 그러지 그래 득바데 득바지 않으면서 지 니는 노바다 르가 있으고네 노바 동진 용용지대 노바 마다한시 개아프도 가리 피사다 대서 신을 참말 피고서 로드 정도 도시 내가 개아프도 소바지 대지 가라요래들은 설마 좀 말이지 같이 대화를 가서 비몽노반 담을 연도래 누가 진짜 못하기는 갖고 세고 피고 something 딜람 지대 차로르지 랑그 셈네 용서도 또 세고는 빈셈도 좀 성종 되고 들을 력차리지 오 농셈도 빵고 어디 대박지 뭐 농셈 빵고 내 앞으로 또 빈셈 삼을 피고 서 뒤로 되면 나왔지 이제 대는 랑그 셈도 양도 들들이 랑그 셈도 비 짱마 차그리지 셈도 짱마나지 셈 짱마 차중들이 다진이 매와 하고 그래서 셈 나파나지 차나 늘 상제 때문에 상제지 바데 니지 좀 미술 셈고대로 무슨 짱마지 가봐 자나 로지그리지 대는지 파미 셈처럼 설랑하디 링콩을 파피 셈처럼 대화랑을 토고 그러더니 랑그 셈도 저 상제 때문에 송
So I take refuge in virtuous friends, the heart essence of companions. So these are all of our teachers, and the greatest of all teachers is the Buddha. And why is he the greatest of all teachers? It is because his aspiration is, may all sentient beings have happiness, and may they all be free from suffering. This is what makes him great. Also in our refuge card, and it says, do not commit any wrong, perfectly practice virtue. So what is wrong and what is virtue, if you were to ask that question? And that is on the other side of our refuge card. So it says, when harm to others and its cause are abandoned, the vows of personal liberation are complete. So what is wrong is to harm others. That is wrong this card here is speaking about. And when you harm others, then the harm will always come around because self and others don't exist. So it goes around in circles. If you harm others, you're essentially harming yourself. And so therefore, when we take refuge, we are instructed to try not to harm others with body, speech, and mind. And then perfectly practice virtue. It says here, when help to others and its cause are accomplished, the vows of bodhisattvas are complete. So that is virtue. That is to practice virtues, to benefit others as much as you can. And so when it comes to benefiting others, it's actually not the outer body and speech that are most important, but it's the mind. On the outer level, it will, of course, be difficult to always benefit everyone and never harm anyone, even if that's what you want. But in your mind, you should always have the wish to benefit others. And so this is the Buddha's teachings. It again says in our refuge card, completely tame your own mind. This is the Buddha's teachings. So taming your own mind means to cultivate an altruistic mind. If you just have that, it is actually sufficient. So have an altruistic mind and abandon a wish to harm others, abandon harming others, and never separate from the wish to benefit others. So this is how you tame your own mind. This is how you purify your own mind so it becomes pure like water. And when a mind has become completely purified, you recognize that self and others do not exist separately because the mind is just like space, all pervasive. So this is the essence of the Buddha's teachings. It is ultimately to realize the nature of the mind where self and others do not exist separately. For example, if you have 100 phones, they are all powered by the same electricity. And so for this reason, because there is really no separation between self and others, if you send out a negativity, again, a negative state of mind toward others, then that is what will come back to you. And if you send out altruism towards others, then happiness will come back to you. So this is the Buddha's teachings.
사제 때바 이는 사게 가래 사제 때바리들 니는 니기 다낭도는 아동상지 라그 셈지 삼지했다 말은 비세도 장마차도 세도 장마차도 다지 니메와 셈지 뭐 대하고서는 들이 두고 직장이요 말이 들이 제제 그다음 제요 제요 말이 제들은 차로들 제레 쳐들 라리지 그래 들이 라시 바들이 중매바 중탑제들어 라시리 들이 그 당상 중에 세도 딱 봐서 안 돼. 노라 들이 참아 라리지 오 세븐이 직장 말이 득바라다 그래 들이 득바라다 세미오지 샘때 상제레지 샘때 샘이 얘네 상제지랑 이 하고서는 오, 딱 내가 로레데 득바르다 소바카리 고시 당나라서 그래. 대 로버를 들어가리면서 그 셈이 이래 쏘아요 말이지. 들 참아 라레데. 다상하게 좋아 당겨도 나와 탐지 라레데 잡아 담에 나래. 들 참아 사제데 상시 감레데. 신감 무슨 루비아 요래. 네 동담 대만은 통소나 들 참아신 가면 통구요래. 내 말을 본 거는 이제 시에게 요래. 그래서 잡동지 도도 장장 쳐도 다디 편랑이가 반응선하게 되어 되래야 돼.
And so in the refuge card, it says this is the Buddha's teachings. So again, also on the refuge card, it then says, when one is skilled in a pure perception of the universe and all beings, the vows of secret mantra are complete. When you never separate from love, your mind becomes very pure. When the mind becomes very pure, you will realize that there are no self and others, that we all have one mind. When you understand that, you will also naturally understand that there are no demons. That question arose yesterday about demons. There really are no demons. There is not a single demon that really exists. We can say that an ice block is a demon and water is like a god. And God here means flawless. So having a pure perception of the universe and all beings means that if you have love always for all beings, you will see all beings as the deity. For example, when you look at a scorpion, even the mind of a scorpion is a Buddha. It has the same mind. All beings are primordially Buddhas. And so why does the scorpion then appear in this dreadful form? It is because it is said a scorpion, for instance, is a natural manifestation of anger, of hatred. However, this is only a temporary state. Fundamentally, this is not the scorpion's true nature. The scorpion also possesses Buddha nature. So when you really understand the Vajrayana, you will begin to perceive all appearances as the deity, and you will hear all sounds as the mantra. Wherever you go will be a pure land. Whoever you meet will be a deity. When you see the ultimate truth, everything really becomes a pure land. Milarepa also taught on that in the 100,000 songs of Milarepa that we often mention. So everything, all of that, in essence, is contained in the refuge card.
아니 나 잡주 도마 탑처럼가 나그 잡주 도마 쉬어디 가리거리 오 나그 잡주 도마 쉬고르디 장자를 아니 이가 잡고르지 미 심지답이 잡고르지 심지답이 잡고 째와 고르지 내가 견딘 말에서 내가 네 총총지는 그만 잡주 도마 쉬는데 때기로 다 등상들 때가면 고주 도로 띠로다 같이 따가면 들이들은디 내가 같이 하는데 때기로 내는 되니 쪽발이 내일은 나 견딘 바이지 나 고토 제정 말이지 내 이는 너 봤다 아닌 거 말이지 나 평생 공에 상으로 같이 거래지 내가 가서 제면 생구 찌하고 그래 나 견딘 바이는 찌하고 그래 이제 당신 찌하고 그래서 제시디 이제 다야 들이들은데 피하여 그거잖아.
So once you have taken the refuge vow, then you have this awareness, I have now taken the refuge vow. And what does that mean? It means I must protect myself and also others. And how can I do that? In order to protect myself and others, I must give rise to love. Now that I have taken the refuge vow, I have become a Sangha. So there is this small pin here. that in the past, Rinpoche said I would always give that to everyone who's receiving the refuge vow. That pin also contains the liberation by seeing mantra. Now we don't really pass that out much anymore, and even if I pass it out, often people don't really wear it anyways. But anyways, we only have a few left, and so today I'm passing those out again. And the mantra and what is printed on the T-shirt and so on, it is all the same liberation mantra. And you wear that close to you as a reminder, I am a Sangha. I must not get angry at others. I must not harm others. I must have a wish to benefit others. I must help others. I must give love to others. So being a Sangha in essence means I must have love for all sentient beings. So this little pin that you will receive is a reminder of this.
근데 라스 조 그거발이 내 가리는 엄마 가도 진게 가도 진게들이 자다 고도 보러 대장들이 되니 되디 장난 고마게 되니 그때는 조 유인으로 송때는 그때 조 이제 보러 나가리 되니 자다가 아마게 되니 속티 주고 장난만 자다는 무슨 고마나 요 되리 아마게 가리 까지는 되니 자다 고도 남겨서 들이 로지요래 속티 주고 자나면 콜로요라 되디 자다가 막이 아마라게 가리 싸움하잖니 아마 뭐게 잘해 자고 그것을 남겨 말해 되게 제로지테리 되게 특히 자시는 말 아마게 자다고도 아마게 자다 나가야지 되게 가동지 토로지마 가동지 그런 것도 자다 들이 자고 시는 패송 타디 들이 자다 로종하더니 가동지 참는 용탈되는 가동지 참는 자다 현실을 돼 자다 그더니 가동지 남겨래 다다된 순간 공부 주고 자나마 되는데 로지테리 되디 사사가 조금 거 봐도 좋을 거 봐. 내요래 들이 라니 소디만 되다 내면 무슨 처음이래 사자베 계시지 옛날에 들이 공지 동사도 포과된 데는 무척 지복세 내가 나가 보통 들이잖아 네 라니 소디만데 로 되게데 근데 망도 로는 들이다네 어떤 네 포과들한 게 도통 포과도 빠토 내통 안 맞을 롱송 가리가 된안 로번지 뭐 다티 그것을 하고 또 비상지 통상적인 대화를 들으면서 빠디야 그 콩고 빠다던데 지야리 같이 온데 그때 도민이 말이라고요. 대도에 배 꼬까르다다 라마타요 꼬빠 지야리 빠는데 네트 말이라고요. 네트 좀만 속본데 풍고지는 네 강과도 원도 나는 샘들 좋아요 말이 말해서 샘시야요 말이 샘시야면들이 주권을 놓고 또 나빠한테 저런 거래. 대다 그러더니 다다 빠디저 탕가도 문의를 상담 드리다 저기 너무 탕가게 송주고 요리라 마음고 송주 말에 대도 저를 한가 고통 독된 담지 문의를 상담 문의 말이서 저기 조고를 시고 저는 풍부는 문의 강파도 뭐는 풍부는 문의 말이 라마탄 저거바노 라마는 문의를 저기는 돈 라마는 문의에서 라마는 문의 톡들이 대 문의를 제발로 뭐 대고도 샘시야 말이 죽고 따도 나팔 대요 제대 말을 배송요래 고 샘시야 요 말이지 나팔을 냠대요 호스 조금만 가 차대요 저도 가디 콜이 치우네 그래서 왔다가 그 생이 좀 차트 그래서 말을 배송을 대더니다 대사받더니 나더니 그렇게 하려니 대답 아침 모레 되는 근데 부야요는데 참 저도 이 말에
So then there is an image of the Lhasa Chowo, a statue that was it goes back to the time of Gar Dongzhen. Gar Dongzhen was a minister who brought the Chinese princess to Tibet, and when she came to Tibet, she brought a few gifts of dowry with her, such as a representation of enlightened body, which was this Jowo statue. And then also she brought the Gyanama prayer wheel. Apparently that was given by her mother. and then offered to the king, but really was kept by Garchen eventually, because after the king had passed away, so she was the king's wife, and after the king had passed away,
she, the queen, then stays in Garchen's home for 15 years until her own death.
And she gave him the Gyanama prayer wheel, and that prayer wheel is actually now installed at Gar Monastery at the present day. So that's that image, and then there is the 37 Bodhisattva practices which you will receive. And at the end of the little booklet, there is a picture of the practice cave of the author who wrote the 37 practices, Ngulcho Tome, who was a Sakya master. And so when I was young and I read the 37 Bodhisattva practices many times, I had memorized it. I was still not moved to tears as much as when I saw that picture of that cave. When I saw the picture of that cave, it really moved me to tears. And why? It was really the blessings of this great Bodhisattva who wrote this text and who had practiced there. I made a connection to his great love, and that is what I felt. And that is why I really wanted to add this particular image into to that book. So that's an image of the practice cave of Ngulcho Tome. And then in the middle of there, we drew a picture of Ngulcho Tome. And so it's not a real photograph, obviously, it's an image drawn. And so because it's not a real photograph, some people may say that, oh, that's not really Ngulcho Tome. But actually, to think that way is really very stupid, actually, because we think that just because it's written, that's not what it really is. Or we see a tanka and we say, that's not really the deity, or that's not really the Lama. Actually, what we're looking at is just a body. The body is just like an empty house. And what's more important is the mind. The mind will never change or never die. Like Milarepa also said before he left his body, that the mind cannot die. The mind continues on as the Dharmakaya, or may manifest as Sambhogakaya or Nirmanakaya. So all these different images, these photographs or things we see on a tanka, different paintings, they are the real deity or the real guru. And if you recognize that, there actually have been stories of, for example, Tara images giving teachings to Lama. There are many stories like that, but those images then begin to speak to one. So all of these representations of enlightened body, speech, and mind should be really seen as the actual Buddha, the actual deity. If one thinks that that's not the real thing, then one really focuses only on the physical body. And again, the physical body is just like an empty house. It really has no substance. And the same actually goes also for the live stream or the online or recording. That's also the real Lama, what you see on the screen. Because the actual Lama is the Lama's enlightened mind. And that mind can never die. Before Milarepa left his body, he said to his disciples, I cannot die, and I will continue to pervade the 5 elements like space, all pervasive like space. Whoever supplicates me with trust, I will be with them, inseparable from their mind. So that is also very important. And so because this image of Ngulcho Tome's practice cave has a lot of blessings, I wanted to add that to the 37 Bodhisattva practices booklet. And so we made a new print of that, and I would like to offer that to you today as a gift.
janam kholo di dina tangro di dini chopa chose ta de ta de monam ja nang yore pena ta de janama de ta chitu yin she sabjela de khogo yore ta de ri ko chir de chog yo mare munje de jakab makung landri makung chembo gagun pep yore gagu pep khong ge to wa la yore 송무 신진을 공파 되냐 도ksi 고바 제모도 중청도도 일나 추수 니시 잡절라 주도 니리래 가지니 고만들이 다 추수 앙당보리 소르페 저 고문 청 앞지 장니 받아야 요지 대다 시요래 이 약합게 킬링요래 대다 레디.
And then also you will have a little piece of your hair clipped, and your hair will go into this little pouch. And then at some point all the hair will be sent to Tibet to the prayer wheel. We just mentioned the Gyanama prayer wheel. And once the hair reaches there, the monks there make prayers over the different hairs that we have accumulated continuously by spinning the prayer wheel 24 hours a day, non-stop. There's always a monk there spinning the prayer wheel. It never it never goes, it never is still. It always turns. And that's really very special. In the past, there was actually a Chinese official, a general, who came to visit Gar Monastery one time, and he really praised the monastery for that prayer wheel. He said that in this province of Qinghai, there are around 700 monasteries, large and small, but this is the only one that actually engages in a virtuous activity all the time, 24 hours, by spinning that prayer wheel. And that is why he said, you are really the best monastery. And he promised to
make a monetary gift of 500,000 yen to the monastery.
So this prayer wheel was even recognized by the country.
상제 마탑자 받아 잡을 놓아 이제 들나가 탑이 되라 잡을 놓아 제대 상마제 받아 잡을 놓아 이제
디치보 제대 제거라
레레
디치보라
탑이면 돼 상제죠
Okay, so then next we come to repeating the refuge vow. And so Rinpoche would like us to repeat that prayer we have in the yellow prayer book. And so after we have repeated that, also think that I'm going for refuge until I attain enlightenment. And then Rinpoche will say, Tap which means this is the method. And in response to that, we will say Lexo or excellent.
오 상제 주당 초지 조남라 장첩바르드 다네 잡선지 낙게 짐소 짐비 수남지 로라 빈서 상제 르바쇼.
Then please repeat. Sorry, that's on page number 4. On page number 4 in the yellow prayer book. Yeah. Okay. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly by the merit of generosity and the other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. So then next, Rinpoche will say Tap which means this is the method. And so in that moment, now think that now I am receiving the refuge vow. And then in response to that, say Lexo, which means excellent. And then after that, you can come up one by one and you will have your hair clipped. As Rinpoche said that he himself can't really clip the hair, but Khenpo Tenzin will help with that. So please come up and then you will receive your various gifts.
잡서 송 평유 들이 잠도 통마 토리 정도 지와 체력 관리 가능성은 탑독된 자공도 마저가 받들이 고소서 그다 보자 그래 돼. 들고 소설 다 보자 그래. 내가 토리 좀 대화다. 들 탑독 사지 마토 저도 토리 좀 대화라 롱주 그래. 다 대화시는 돼.
And so for the benefits of taking refuge, once you have taken the refuge vow, from this day onward, in all future lifetimes, wherever you go, the three jewels will protect you until the ice block of the mind has completely melted. Temporarily, you will always take birth in the three higher realms, and ultimately you will attain enlightenment. And until you attain enlightenment, you will always enjoy the happiness of the higher realms. So these are the benefits in brief.
yarwa kunje ji so lop chur te zang bo ju ba yong so zo ji jing chut chum ju ba zhen mi yong da ba da de me nyam ju mi ju ba sho.
Following all the victorious ones, may I train, bringing excellent conduct to complete perfection and engage in wholly pure, flawless discipline that never lapses and is free from faults.
希望的当切入tham chế thân. Quân số xâm bộ Nam Yang mình ra hình. Chú sư số lãng phong ba mì bà yì. Nhưng tốt chìm bì rổ nông sĩ bà số.
In this and all future lives, may I never be separated from the three jewels. For the sake of the Dharma, may I even give away my life and work for the benefit of beings with great determination.
Sanchok Simcho Rinpoche Ma Chi Pa Na Chi Jir Chik Chi Pa Nyam Pa Mi Pa Yang Gong Ne Gong De Pe Wa Sho.
May bodhicitta, the precious and supreme mind, arise in whom it has not yet arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not decline, but ever increase, higher and higher.
戒当切入tham戒的 nhân民者公认经济 定把错当门者行 把定拉灭经济学
In this and all future lives, may I never be separated from the supreme teachings of the unequaled Drikung Ba Rinchen Bal, and may glorious gurus take me into their care.
戒瓦功德养大了马堂 人民去戒把了龙主经 撒旦南地用地入座呢 독지 창의 공방열 도서
In all rebirths, may I never be separated from authentic gurus. May I enjoy the glories of the Dharma, and having fully perfected the qualities of the bhumis and paths, may I swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara.
戒行戒瓦达呢，他们戒的，人生路上啊，戒没法当，人戒戒行拉嘛拉规定，把地拉嘛他们吃拉呢说。
In this and all my future lives, may I be born in a good family, be endowed with clear intellect, be free from pride, be greatly compassionate and devoted to the Guru. May my Samaya, with the glorious Guru, remain firm.
工商多见强气明切长，人机早为拉玛言切记，若为东东碰上刚大吧，铁大他们见你等着就是接。
Whatever aspiration prayers have been made for the sake of sentient beings, from the great Samantabhadra Vajradhara on down to the kind root gurus, may they all be swiftly accomplished.
Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 wheel-turning kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon. Your love is boundless like space. I supplicate the Bodhisattva Chenrezig.
So